The red dust of Mars swirled around Jack's boots as he made his way through the abandoned mining facility. His breath came steady inside his environment suit, creating a rhythmic fog on his helmet's visor. The facility had been empty for 3 years, ever since the great solar storm had forced the evacuation of all Mars colonies. But now, as humanity returned to reclaim their outposts, Jack had been sent to check if any equipment could be salvaged. The beam from his helmet light cut through the darkness, revealing twisted metal and broken machinery. Jack loved these solo inspection missions. While other mechanics complained about the loneliness, he found peace in the quiet company of machines. His footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, accompanied only by the soft hum of his suit's life support systems. "Control, this is Jack. Entering Section D7, he reported, his voice clear over the comlink. Still no signs of salvageable equipment. These dust storms really did a number on everything. "Copy that, Jack," came the reply from Control. "You've got 2 hours of oxygen left. Make it count." Jack continued his methodical search, checking off sections on his tablet as he went. He was about to mark D7 as another write-off when his light caught something unusual. Behind a fallen support beam, partially buried in red sand, was a metal surface that didn't match any standard mining equipment. The surface had a strange, shifting quality to it, like oil on water. Even through years of dust, it seemed to absorb and reflect light in ways that made Jack's eyes hurt if he looked at it too long. "That's definitely not human tech," he muttered, kneeling down for a closer look. His scanner showed no radiation or toxic emissions, but the readings it gave made no sense. According to the device, the object both existed and didn't exist at the same time. Jack cleared away more of the dust, revealing what appeared to be a massive mechanical form. It was roughly humanoid in shape, but its proportions were all wrong. Too tall, too angular. Its surface was covered in intricate patterns that seemed to move when he wasn't looking directly at them. "Control, you need to see this," Jack said, switching on his helmet camera. "I found something in D7. Well, you tell me what it is." There was a long pause before Control responded. "Jack, that's not in any of our databases. Protocol says you should mark the location and leave it for the Xenorch team." But Jack barely heard them. He had noticed something about the mechanical being. Damage. Severe damage to what looked like its equivalent of a chest cavity. The edges of the wound were clean, precise, as if something had cut through it with impossible precision. Without thinking, Jack reached out and touched the damaged area. The moment his gloved hand made contact, the entire form hummed to life. Patterns of light raced across its surface, and its head, if that's what it was, turned to face him with unsettling smoothness. 2 points of light flickered to life where eyes might be on a human face. They focused on Jack with an intensity that made him step back. The beam tried to move but couldn't. More lights appeared across its body, blinking in patterns that reminded Jack of diagnostic sequences he'd seen in complicated machinery. "Control, it's alive. Or active. At least," Jack reported, his heart racing with excitement rather than fear. "It looks damaged, but the core systems seem to be running some kind of diagnostic." "Jack, back away now. That's an order. We don't know what." But Jack had already pulled out his diagnostic tablet and was scanning the being's systems. The tablet's screen filled with scrolling data in a language he'd never seen before, but the patterns were familiar. They reminded him of the repair sequences he'd run thousands of times on mining robots. "Control," he said, a smile spreading across his face. "I think I can fix it." "Absolutely not. This is way above your clearance level. The Xenorch team will." "It's hurting," Jack interrupted, surprising himself with the certainty in his voice. "I don't know how I know that, but it's in pain, and I can help." The beam's lights pulsed once, as if in confirmation. As Jack began to unpack his tools, he knew he was probably breaking a dozen protocols, but something deep in his gut told him this was right. This was important. He had no way of knowing that this moment, this simple choice to help, would change the course of human history forever. Jack's hands moved with careful precision as he worked on the damaged Guardian. He had turned off his comm link 30 minutes ago, tired of Control's repeated warnings and threats. The only sounds now were his steady breathing and the soft hum of his tools against the Guardian's strange metal surface. The damage was unlike anything he'd seen before. The cut went deep into the Guardian systems, but the edges were so clean they almost seemed to glow. As Jack traced the wound with his diagnostic tool, patterns of light followed his movements, as if the Guardian was watching him work. "I know you're aware," Jack said, speaking softly as he often did when working on complex machines. "I can feel you scanning me. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help." The Guardian's eyes, those 2 points of bright light, flickered in a pattern that reminded Jack of binary code. He pulled out his tablet and started recording the sequences. After a few minutes, a pattern emerged. *01,000,000, 100,001,000, and 101,000,000, 1,110,001,000, 111,001,000, 101,001,000, 10,000, and 10 asterisk. "Danger," Jack read aloud, translating the binary. "You mean me? Or something else?" More lights pulsed across the Guardian's surface. Jack's tablet screen filled with new patterns. *01,000,000, 100,001,000, 101,001,000, and 101,000,000, 10,000, 100,001,000, 1,001,000, 10,000, 111,001,000, 1,111,001,000, 10,000, and 10,001,000, 1,100,001,000, 100 asterisk. Deathworld. Jack couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, you mean Earth? Yeah, I guess compared to other planets, it is pretty rough. High gravity, extreme temperatures, lots of natural disasters. But that's what made us tough." The Guardian's lights pulsed faster, and Jack's tablet began translating the binary streams automatically now. "Repair capability, human expct, human physiology, unsuited for precision work. To own fusion." Jack smiled as he carefully began removing damaged components from the Guardian's chest cavity. "You're not the first to underestimate us. We may be from a harsh world, but that's exactly what made us good at fixing things. When everything's trying to kill you, you get really good at repairs." The Guardian's systems hummed louder as Jack worked, its lights changing from cautious red to curious blue. Each time Jack removed a damaged part, the Guardian's diagnostic systems would scan it, as if studying his technique. When Jack began fabricating replacement components using his portable repair kit, the Guardian's lights turned bright white, with what seemed like surprise. "Adaptation, observ, improvisation, novatid, reassessing species capabilities." "That's right," Jack said, carefully fitting a new power coupling into place. "We humans are full of surprises. Now, this next part might sting a bit, but I need to reconnect your main power flow." The Guardian's lights flickered rapidly. "Pain, Keoli or NC, LIREL, continue repairs. Studiduling VATHWOR methods." As Jack worked deeper into the Guardian systems, he began to notice something strange. The more he fixed, the more he understood. It was as if the Guardian was teaching him its technology, even as he repaired it. Diagrams and schematics seemed to form in his mind, showing him exactly what needed to be done. "We're sensing, aren't we?" Jack asked, his voice filled with wonder. "You're letting me understand your systems. AFFR or Maytai. The NEURAL bridge stabilize. The unusual COMPATI bell. I will yeath oral brain structure resistant to damage. Fascinating. Jack sat back for a moment, wiping sweat from his forehead with his suit's cleaning system. I got about an hour of oxygen left. Think we can get you up and running by then. The Guardian's response was immediate. Acceptable timing frame. Continue repairs. Truest ist abgleich. Woe earning. Incoming communication side Gmail. Just then, Jack's comlink crackled to life automatically. Control's voice was tense. Jack, we're picking up unknown signals approaching your position. Multiple contacts. You need to get out of there now. The Guardian's lights pulsed urgently. They have foundus. Repairs must be completed. Defense protocios or required. Protect secret. Jack looked at his half-finished repairs, then at his oxygen gauge, and made a decision. Control, I'm staying. Something big is coming, and I need to finish this. As if in response to his words, the Guardian's eyes glowed brighter than ever, casting long shadows in the darkness of the abandoned facility. The real test of their unusual partnership was about to begin. As Jack continued his repairs, the Guardian's memory systems began to come back online. Each restored connection brought forth bursts of information that flowed through their neural link. Jack gasped as images and knowledge flooded his mind. Glimpses of a civilization so advanced it seemed like magic. "You're a luminary creation," Jack whispered, his hand steady despite his amazement. The stories about them were true. They really did build wonders across the galaxy. The Guardian's lights pulsed in confirmation. Coristi. We were geeky Guardians. We PROTCSTEDD great engines. Until the darkane came. Through their strengthening neural link, Jack saw flashes of massive machines buried deep beneath the Martian surface. These weren't just simple terraforming devices as humans had imagined. They were reality-shaping engines capable of transforming entire worlds. "Is that what you're protecting?" Jack asked, carefully reconnecting a cluster of crystal-like components. "One of these engines is here on Mars. AFF or May 5He. But MEMORI. QORUPTED. Location data. FAFRAGIMENTED. Repairs critical." The approaching signals that Control had warned about were getting stronger. Jack's suit's sensors could pick them up now. Multiple objects entering Mars' atmosphere. Whatever they were big and moving fast. "Tell me about the darkness," Jack said, working faster now. "What are these things coming for us?" The Guardian's response came not in words, but in images, swarms of mechanical beings stripping entire planets bare, consuming everything in their path. Jack saw worlds that had once been garden paradises reduced to lifeless rocks. The Harvesters, as the Luminary had called them, cared nothing for life or preservation. They only consumed. They see the engine. They NEV stope. They only consume. Must hero TCT. But why didn't the Luminary stop them? Jack asked, even as his hands moved to complete the final repairs. Why did they disappear? The Guardian was silent for a moment, its lights dimming. Then, Illuminine and era, EVOLVD beyond physical form, ACNDET to higher plane, LEFTUS, to guarantee their works, but we were not enough. Through their link, Jack felt the Guardian's deep sadness, an emotion he wouldn't have thought possible in a machine. One by one, the Guardian networks had fallen. Some were destroyed, others simply failed over the millennia. This Guardian, which Jack had started thinking of as Atlas, was one of the last. "You've been alone all this time," Jack said softly, understanding flowing through their connection. "Fighting a never-ending battle. Corisi. Lo e linus, difficult QO and CPT, but accurate. No, not alone. The final power coupling clicked into place. Atlas's systems surged with new energy, the damage finally repaired. The Guardian slowly rose to its full height, towering over Jack. Its movements were smooth and precise, like a predator waking from a long sleep. Through their neural link, Jack felt Atlas testing its restored systems. The Guardian's defensive capabilities were impressive. Energy weapons, force fields, and things Jack's human mind couldn't even comprehend. But there was something else too, a deep uncertainty. Damaged too long. Systems 870% capacity. Not enough to stop harvesters. Need help. The ground trembled as the first of the harvester ships entered Mars' atmosphere. According to Jack's suit sensors, there were at least 5 of them, each bigger than Earth's largest warships. How long until they reach us? Jack asked, checking his oxygen gauge. 20 minutes left. Time to MPDCT. 15 minutes. HUGG station. Available. UNP RECDDNTDDO Pution. Reescate. To DEATHLUORLDER. Physiology. Hi. Jack felt Atlas's idea through their link. The Guardian was proposing something that had never been attempted. A full integration of human and Guardian systems. It was dangerous, maybe even fatal for most species. But Jack's Deathworlder physiology might just be tough enough to handle it. Well, Jack said, a grim smile spreading across his face, I didn't come all the way to Mars to play it safe. Let's show these harvesters what a human and a luminary Guardian can do together. The harvester ships descended through Mars' thin atmosphere like giant metal spiders, their hulls glowing red-hot from entry. Jack watched them through Atlas's enhanced sensor systems, which now fed directly into his mind through their growing neural link. Control, do you copy? Jack tried one last time, but only static answered. The harvesters were blocking all communications. He was on his own. Integration PROTOCOL is ready. Voyarn Ange. Hero CSS, May Kiaus, Extreme DICO MFORT. Last JNC to reject. Jack took a deep breath. Just do it. We're out of time. The sensation that followed was like being dunked in ice water and struck by lightning at the same time. Jack's entire body tensed as Atlas's systems merged with his suit's life support. Lines of light spread across his environment suit, matching the patterns on Atlas's surface. The Guardian's consciousness flowed into his mind, not erasing or overtaking, but merging. Integration, SUCCESSFUL, DEATHLUORL, DER, Physiology ADAPting, REMARKADL. Through their now complete neural link, Jack could feel Atlas's genuine surprise. No other species had ever survived a full integration. But humans, with their hardy Deathworlder biology, could handle stresses that would kill most alien life forms. The first harvester drone smashed through the facility's ceiling, sending debris raining down around them. It was enormous, easily 3 times Atlas's size, with multiple limbs ending in cutting tools and energy weapons. Behind it, more drones were breaking in. Jack felt Atlas's combat systems come online. The Guardian's knowledge of advanced weaponry flowed into his mind, but it came with a warning. Standard THEDCs INEFFET. He. Harvesters ADAPTQICKLI. NEED approach. Then let's show them something they've never seen before, Jack said, feeling the power of Atlas's weapon systems at his command. They may be able to counter luminary technology, but they've never fought a human using it. The first harvester drone launched a barrage of energy bolts. Working together, Jack and Atlas dodged in ways the Guardian had never moved before. Jack's human instincts for unpredictable movement combined with Atlas's advanced mobility systems made them nearly impossible to hit. Interesting strategy. Van die omnen is kegon fusing HRVSTER TA RGHGNG. To continue. They counterattacked, but not in the precise, predictable ways the harvesters were programmed to expect from luminary technology. Jack's knowledge of mining operations gave him insight into structural weaknesses. They didn't aim for the drone's heavily armored fronts. Instead, they shot at the ceiling above them, bringing down tons of Martian rock. The first drone was crushed, but the others learned quickly. They spread out, trying to surround Jack and Atlas. One of them launched a net of crackling energy. Standard Defense Protocols Segugigist or ETRE. Tactical position compromised. No, Jack said, getting an idea. They expect us to retreat. Let's charge right at them instead. If Atlas had been capable of facial expressions, it would have looked shocked. CUGGT Styon. CONTURDDICT is AALO combat logic. But Harvester Paturanis SHOWCON and FUSI. Kuro CEDing. They ran straight at the nearest drone, diving underneath its guard. Atlas's weapons were powerful, but couldn't penetrate the drone's shields directly. However, Jack noticed something his human eyes could see that Atlas's sensors hadn't prioritized. The drone's feet were leaving deep marks in the floor. They're heavy, Jack said through their link. Really heavy. And this facility's floor wasn't built to hold that much weight. Understanding. Structural analysis complete. Fiel suvel itinki load bearing puvoyantius. Together, they began firing at specific points in the floor, their shots guided by Jack's mining experience and Atlas' precise targeting. The harvesters, expecting attacks against themselves, didn't understand the strategy until it was too late. With a tremendous groan, the facility's floor gave way. The heavy harvester drones plunged into the level below, their weight working against them. As they fell, Jack and Atlas used Atlas's anti-gravity systems to hover safely. NOVTV He using environment as weapon. Learning from DEATHWRL tactics. But their victory was short-lived. As the dust settled, they could see the drones already climbing back up. And worse, Jack's oxygen gauge was now flashing red. He had less than 10 minutes of air left. Atlas, Jack said, his breathing getting heavy. I hope you know where that terraforming engine is, because we're going to need it soon. The harvester drones were climbing back up through the hole in the floor, their metal limbs screeching against the facility structure. Jack's oxygen warning flashed more urgently now. 8 minutes of air remaining. Memory banks restored. Engine location found. But path blocked by harvesters. Through their neural link, Jack saw what Atlas meant. The terraforming engine lay in a hidden chamber deep beneath them, but with the harvesters between them and their goal, reaching it seemed impossible. How deep is it? Jack asked, his breathing getting heavier as he tried to conserve oxygen. APGAR out XIMATELY 300 meters. Normal HCESs wrote QGOM Roma. IC'd. ALT or NATV method available. But RISK extreme. Atlas showed Jack the plan through their shared consciousness. The Guardian's body could transform, creating a protective shell around Jack. They could then use Atlas's phase shift technology to pass through the solid rock, dropping straight down to the engine chamber. What's the catch? Jack asked, watching as the first harvester drone pulled itself up. Phase shift requires enormous power. Never attempt PTD with organic life. Survival chance, 31%. Jack laughed. despite their dire situation. Better odds than running out of oxygen up here. Let's do it. The transformation was incredible. Atlas's body shifted and flowed like liquid metal, wrapping around Jack's suit. Their integration deepened. Jack could feel every part of Atlas's systems, as if they were his own limbs. The Guardian's consciousness merged more completely with his, their thoughts becoming one. Beginning phase shift. VRAC for impatient. Protekedeatkhlder. The sensation of passing through solid rock was indescribable. Jack felt like every atom of his body was being pulled in different directions. His Deathworlder physiology was the only thing keeping him conscious. Any other species would have blacked out from the stress. They fell through layers of Martian rock and ancient structures. Through their shared senses, Jack caught glimpses of long-buried ruins, remnants of the luminary civilization that had once called Mars home. The harvesters pursued, using their own cutting beams to bore through the rock. But they were slower, having to physically break through each layer. Jack and Atlas's phase shift gave them a lead, but it was draining their power at an alarming rate. Power at 40%. Phase shift failing. Pre-pair-if-for rematerial. They burst into a vast underground chamber, Atlas's protective shell opening as they landed. Jack gasped at what he saw. The terraforming engine was enormous, a crystalline structure that pulsed with its own inner light, filling the massive cavern with shifting colors. Engine intact, but requires HDTI Vation SEQEINS. Time required. 4 minutes. Oxygen remaining. 5 minutes. The numbers didn't look good. The harvesters would reach them before the engine activated, and even if they held them off, Jack's oxygen would run out shortly after. That's when Jack noticed something through their neural link, a pattern in the engine's crystal structure that looked familiar. It was similar to the damaged components he had repaired in Atlas. "Atlas," he said, an idea forming. "Your original damage. It wasn't from the harvesters, was it? You did it to yourself, to hide the activation sequence in your own body." Corrected. SPLITCQENC to PUREVNT theft. Navier XPKTED HDEATKH to repair and find it. The chamber shook as the harvesters drew closer. Jack could hear their cutting beams getting louder. "Well," Jack said, moving toward the engine's control panel, "good thing this Deathworlder likes fixing things. How do we do this?" Final integration required. Must MERG CUS completely. What ARN? No previous survivability data. Jack placed his hand on the crystal panel, feeling Atlas's presence in his mind growing stronger. Above them, the first harvester drone broke through the chamber ceiling. "Sometimes," Jack said, his voice steady despite everything, "you have to break all the rules to do what's right." And with that, human and Guardian became one, their merged consciousness reaching out to awaken the sleeping heart of Mars. The moment Jack's consciousness fully merged with Atlas's, the world around him transformed. He could see everything, every energy flow, every pattern of light, every possible future branching out before them. The terraforming engine's crystals pulsed in sync with their combined heartbeat. But the harvesters were coming. 3 drones had already broken through into the chamber, their cutting beams slicing through ancient stone. 2 more were right behind them. Each drone was the size of a small ship, their metallic bodies bristling with weapons. Oxygen remaining. 4 minutes. Engine activation. 3 minutes. HARVSTERBREACH. Immediate. Total vision. UNCLER. Jack/Atlas moved as one being now, their merged form glowing with combined power. The Guardian's ancient weapon systems flowed through Jack's human instincts, creating something entirely new. The first harvester drone launched a barrage of energy bolts. Instead of dodging, they caught the energy in their hands, Atlas's technology letting them reshape it. Jack's mining experience recognized the pattern. It was just like redirecting plasma flows in the old Mars mines. They threw the energy back, not at the drone shields, but at the ground beneath it. The floor turned to molten rock, and the heavy drone began to sink. Innovative tactical APPRO AMPLEMENTING human mining knowledge. Continuing strategy. But the other drones were learning, hovering above the floor now. They spread out, trying to surround the engine. Their weapons charged for a massive combined blast. Through their merged consciousness, Jack remembered something from his repair work on Atlas. Every system had a resonance frequency. Even these drones must have one. Atlas, Jack thought, their minds so connected now that speaking was unnecessary. Can we use the engine's crystals to find a frequency? AFRMAD 5E or EPURPOSING CANNING systems. Kawushan Ox XYGN at 3 minutes. They placed their hands on the engine's control crystal, letting its energy flow through them. The chamber filled with a high-pitched tone as they searched for the right frequency. The harvesters fired their combined blast. At the last second, they found it. The sound changed, becoming a deep vibration that shook the entire chamber. The harvesters' energy blast scattered, their systems disrupted by the resonance wave. Warning. Didroni adaptation in progress. Change frequencies. Tactical advantage temporary. They were right. The drones were already adjusting, their systems shifting to avoid the resonance. But they had bought precious time. The engine's activation sequence was progressing, its crystals glowing brighter. That's when Jack had an idea that only a human would think of, something so illogical that Atlas's programming took a moment to understand it. We need to overload the resonance, he thought. Push it beyond safety limits. Need GA Power systems cannot sustain. Overload whale CAUs permanent damage. Exactly, Jack thought back. Sometimes you have to break something to save everything else. Understanding flowed through their link. It was the same principle Jack had used to repair Atlas. Sometimes a controlled break was better than a catastrophic failure. They poured everything they had into the resonance wave. Jack's human biology screamed in protest as they pushed past all safety limits. Atlas's systems began to crack under the strain, but the wave grew stronger. The harvester drones tried to retreat, but it was too late. The resonance reached a pitch that shattered their internal systems. One by one, they fell, their complex machinery torn apart from the inside. Drones, Niuyutuira, lies east, engine HFY Stories. 60 seconds. Oxydwigian remaining. 90 seconds. Systems failing. They had won, but at a terrible cost. Their merged form was breaking down, energy bleeding from dozens of cracks. Jack could barely breathe, his vision going dark at the edges. The engine's crystals had reached their full brightness, ready for the final activation sequence. But there was one more surprise waiting in the ancient chamber, something even Atlas hadn't known about. As their consciousness began to fade, a new light appeared in the center of the engine. A light that looked suspiciously like a luminary transport gate. The luminary transport gate hummed to life, filling the chamber with brilliant white light. Jack and Atlas's merged form stumbled toward it, their systems failing and oxygen nearly depleted. They had less than a minute of air left. Gate origin, unknown. Purpose, unknown. But LUMINARI energy signature 2 environment. Through their shared consciousness, they could feel the gate scanning them. It seemed to pause when it detected their unique merged state, human and guardian combined into something entirely new. Suddenly, a voice filled the chamber. Not a physical sound, but a direct communication to their merged mind. It spoke in patterns of light and energy that their combined understanding could translate. Guardian of Mars, you have exceeded your programming. Human of Earth, you have surpassed your species' limitations. Together, you have achieved what we hoped would one day be possible. The voice belonged to a luminary consciousness, one of the ascended beings that had moved beyond physical form ages ago. Through their link, Atlas's memories confirmed it. I presence DTTCT. They were Buddha a teaching. Waiting. This was a test. Yes, the voice confirmed. We left our engines and guardians not just to protect, but to find worthy successors, species that could rise above their limitations and work together in ways we never imagined. The gate's energy reached out to them, repairing their damaged systems. Jack felt his oxygen recyclers come back online as Atlas's cracked components healed. Most species either feared the Guardians or tried to control them, the voice continued. But you, human Jack, chose to help. And you, Guardian Atlas, chose to trust. Together, you became something new. Their merged consciousness felt the terraforming engine powering up behind them, its activation sequence complete. But it wasn't just terraforming Mars. It was changing the planet in ways Jack's human mind could barely comprehend. DTTCTing planetary changes. Atmosphere stabilizing. Magiging ETT field strengthening. Life SUPPORT systems activating. This engine will make Mars habitable, the voice explained. But that is just the beginning. Your partnership has proven that humans are ready for more responsibility in the galaxy. The Deathworlder perspective, combined with advanced technology, creates something greater than the sum of its parts. The luminary consciousness showed them visions of the future, more guardians awakening across the solar system, each seeking a human partner. The harsh conditions that had made Earth a death world had also created the perfect species to work with their technology. Will you accept this responsibility? The voice asked. Will you help guide humanity and the Guardians into a new age? Jack and Atlas shared a thought, their merged mind coming to an immediate decision. After everything they had been through, there was only one possible answer. We will, they responded as one. The chamber filled with approving light. Outside, the terraforming engine's effects were spreading across Mars, creating an atmosphere humans could breathe, warming the frozen ground, preparing the planet for new life. Then let this be the beginning, the luminary voice said. The Deathworlders and the Guardians working together to protect and nurture life across the stars. The voice faded, leaving them with one final gift, the knowledge to safely separate and merge at will, without damaging either of them. They would no longer be limited by Jack's oxygen supply or Atlas's power constraints when merged. As their consciousness gently separated back into two beings, Jack took his first breath of Mars' new atmosphere. The facility's old sensors were going crazy, detecting breathable air where there had been near vacuum minutes before. His comlink crackled to life. Jack, do you copy? Our sensors are showing impossible readings from Mars. What's happening down there? Jack looked at Atlas, whose lights pulsed with what he now recognized as amusement. Well, he said, grinning inside his helmet, it's kind of a long story, but I think humanity just got a job promotion. Above them, through the holes the harvesters had made, they could see Mars' new sky beginning to turn blue. The age of the Deathworlders and Guardians was about to begin.